And welcome to Meet the Polymaker, everybody. I am your host, Joel. How's it going? I canceled the countdown. You guys have already waited long enough. I apologize. Technical difficulties. I think Streamlabs is down, but we got a fix. The guest is still here. We will meet them shortly. So thank you all for coming in 10 minutes late. That's my typical life. 10 minutes late. Something's always behind. Something doesn't work. You never know, and that's why we do this live, because it's real. So welcome in. For those that have not seen the thing, because I didn't let it be on screen for very long, type in I am awesome. That should be open for YouTube and Twitch. Any side can win. Which one will be the winner tonight? We'll see at the end of the show, but get that in there now. And then we are going to talk about some 3D printing news, some new releases, some new product. The mic is in the way. I've set up a whole new desk, so it looks weird. So apologies. Anyway, some 3D printing news to talk about, some prints to share, and then we're going to meet our next maker. And as you've seen in the title, you've probably seen their models all around, some really fun ones, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We're going to jump right into hot end headlines. And first up, we have new Panchroma. But wasn't there just new Panchroma and then new Panchroma, new Fiberon? We have it coming, and there's more. This isn't it, folks. We just released our Gradient Silk PLA earlier this week, and there's 5 new colors. We have our Silk Elements, so we have our Silk Fire, Water, Air, and Earth of different gradients, and also Silk Rainbow, the long awaited for. I actually am currently printing with them right now, so we'll see how those turn out. Of course, I got to get those scientists ready for the events. And then we're going to need about 10 tables by the end of the year with this release of product. This is going to be our updated formula for the silks. Helps keep the shine and the sheen throughout the print, even at higher speeds. Now, of course, once you start tuning super high, you're going to get some differences, people, just so you know. And then you don't have to worry about mixing this with old stuff and it not matching, because we haven't had gradient silks. It's new. So get it while it's hot, along with the Celestials and the Starlights and the ASA carbon fibers. A lot of stuff to be had. So check out the site. They're available now. Next up we have going currently is TCT Shenzhen, and that is going to be ending tomorrow. So it is the 10th through the 12th. We've seen some footage there. Of course, we do have a booth there. Haven't had a whole lot of photos that I've seen shared yet. Our good friend Jonathan Levi from Next Layer is there filming, brought us a gift. Just an outstanding guy there. But also, of course, the star of the show for at least consumer side, Snapmaker. They had their U1 there. They had several other U1s there. Blaine was there to talk about it. They've had a live stream. So a lot of cool things. I'm not sure if we're going to see a whole lot more of new product announced here. What's not announced here and that you've been waiting for, I can't assure you, but I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot of it at Form Next here in November in Germany. So stay tuned and we'll have to see what comes of it. Next up, we do have a new release, the Raise 3D E3 IDEX. IDEX, of course, getting more popular again with the whole multi-material, the less waste between purging. This kind of does what the H2D does in a different way, but this is going to be their iteration of it. Of course, it's going to be more for commercial, industrial, but I've seen consumers have these printers too. I've heard good things about them. I've never ran one myself, but they now have, it's a larger, it's going to be, this one is actually, it's going to be 330 by 240 by 240 with dual extruders, nozzle temp up to 330. So it can do some of the newer higher temp stuff. Launch price is around $24.99 with an introductory offer through September 30th, where buyers get 10 free 1 kilogram premium PLA filaments. So 10 kilograms of filament with a printer, not bad. Of course, that price point, that's even better, but it supports print speeds up to 200 millimeters per second for flexible filaments, helped by a flexible filament auxiliary feeder. So it's kind of tuned to not just do the stiff and rigid materials, but other soft stuff. Next up, we have water coming out of nowhere, or coming out of the air. This was actually designed by 2 graduates from FH Munster. They built a prototype called Water from Air. It uses 3D printed parts plus advanced materials to turn moisture in the air into drinking water. Uses a metal organic framework to absorb water vapor and then traps heat to condense the moisture into liquid. So kind of a, let's say, a greenhouse effect into a 3D print. Of course, where can this, a lot of us have water, we take it for granted. A lot of places don't. There's typically moisture in the air somewhere, unless you're in the Sahara or Death Valley, and if you're there, I'm sorry, but this probably isn't going to work too well for you. Maybe a few drops a night, but this is going to allow other places, remote places, to get air, hopefully they have air, or they're not there anymore. Get some water in different forms rather than having to dig wells, irrigation, and then pumps and everything else where they don't have access to. And last but not least, we have Lego has gotten into the 3D printing things. Now, they have done 3D printing internally for prototyping. This is going to be the first official Lego product to contain a 3D printed part. They are using the EOS, I have my notes all mixed around. They are using a fine detail resolution, or FDR, EOS printer to print it. The set itself is going to, again, be available to consumers. Includes 956 pieces in total. Features a 16-piece circular track. And what this is of course, why not just build the train out of Legos? This is a miniature. So this is a toy that's part of the Lego train track. So it's not made to be the train itself. It's made to be a toy. That Lego, if you were putting together, that's going to be some nano Legos. That's why they went this route to provide, extra pieces to it. So will we see more things like this in the future with Lego? I don't see why not. It just allows them to create pieces that it's impossible for them to create currently. Will the OG Lego collectors hate this? Probably, but it is a cool step forward and just kind of moving with technology. So awesome to Lego, and we'll see what's next. And that is it for the news. We're going to head over to Spool to Spotlight. And what is Spool to Spotlight? It's where you take your spool, you print out something, and it ends up in the spotlight of the show. So these prints are shared on our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. That's all the community. It's at our channel, Show Off Prints. And first up, we're going to have Oh Dang. And he has printed the HTPLA vegetable plant trellis. It's designed by Pat 3D, and I believe it's on Maker World. I don't have the icon on there. But he printed this in July, and it has been up since then and has been holding up very well. Hopefully he's harvested some tomatoes or something worthwhile out of there. I think it was strawberries. I think I seen the sign, and maybe some cucumbers. So awesome print. Next up, we have Silverback, who has printed the skull leaf designed by Billy Hooper. This is available on Maker Online, any Cubics version file repository. And he did a silk, and then the gradient. I think this is an awesome gradient. Who agrees? I thought it was a gradient that he's printing with. I'm like, which filament is that? Because that's not ours. He painted it. It's airbrushed, but it does look really good as a gradient. So maybe Tongyu, we can get this color in the pan chroma eventually. So just an awesome print and great painting. Next up, we have Peck and Paul, who share the Jack Skellington pumpkin, designed by Severed is what I thought it was, but it is an R, and it's available on makerworld.com if you want to download this yourself and print it for Halloween, because it is coming soon. There's a lot of decorations already in my house, and there will be many, many more by the time Halloween hits. Next up, we have Tech Jeeper, who has used our brand new ASA carbon fiber, the dark red and the navy blue, to print out Conjoy 2s designed by M. Popson, available on Maker World. And these look like production pieces. As soon as I seen these on Twitter, before I seen them on the Show Off Prints, or X, sorry, they look clean. They printed very well. They look awesome. So definitely enjoy the share, and they should hold up quite well for them. And last but not least, we have Holisio, who has printed the double barrel mod designed by 3D Print SOS, Fetter, good friend. And that is available on Maker World. And this is if you have one dryer, but 2 poly dryer boxes, then there you go. You can dry them. It's going to tunnel it out to both, help circulate. The efficiency, I don't know. We haven't done internal testing of these mods. There are a ton of mods. You guys have done awesome. If you guys have poly dryer boxes and no dryer, you can now buy the dryer separate and do this mod. So you can be a little more efficient where you don't have to buy a dryer for every single box you have. But that is it for all the prints today. And if you have anything you want to share yourself, whether it be the good, the bad, the ugly, head over to Discord, share it in the Show Off Prints channel, and you might be shown in the show tomorrow next week. Just remember, people, put the links where are those files at? Put the links in there. Let's support the designers. And that is it. We're going to take a commercial break real quick, and then we'll be right back with the next maker, so stay tuned.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you just been minding your own business and you drop your PLA print? There's gotta be a better way. Well, now there is. With our Polylite PLA Pro, you won't have to worry about dropping your PLA prints ever again. Just look how these tests held up to our drop test, the same one that we did with PLA. If you need even more impact resistance, make sure you check out our Polymax PLA. This hammer is no match for Polymax PLA.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Are you into cosplay and prop making? Are you tired of having to break out those power tools to sand those lines away? And don't forget about all that hand sanding. Cramps. Ouch. Introducing Polymaker's Cos PLA. Available in 2 different versions. Version A and version B. Both versions are still easier to stand than standard PLA. Find out more at us.polymaker.com.
Aliens have come to take over our planet. What will we do? With modern technology and superior materials, we may have a chance. The only good bug is a dead bug. Polymaker. Add to your game.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. We are here to meet a maker, and hopefully through the technical difficulties and the last minute adjustments, doing things a little bit different. So I'm going to need some feedback. So try to keep the chat clear as when I introduce this next guest. I want to see how the audio sounds on your guys' end, because I'm having to stream it differently and whatnot, and I'm hoping it works. But with that all said, please welcome in our next guest and meet the Polymaker, Kirsten from Kekreations, and now she can hear me, and hopefully we can hear her. Hello, hello. Let's see. Can you guys? Oh, here. Actually, now say hello.
Hello. Can y'all hear me?
There you go. Can you guys hear her? And is there any echo? Anything else? Peekaboo, you're right. I don't want actual feedback. I just want to make sure it sounds good. Awesome. So this is a last minute adjustment. I've never done it this way, but it's working, so it doesn't matter. So rather than getting into the details of technical difficulties, welcome in first. And for those that don't recognize the name or the handle, who are you and what do you do?
So I am Kirsten, or Kekreations, Kekreations 3D, Kekreations are wherever you find me. It's some variation of that. I do 3D modeling for 3D printers, and I have all my stuff on Colts 3D. I have a Patreon, my mini factory things, some Maker World stuff. Kind of all over. I tend to gear towards like animals, nature, fantasy kind of stuff.
Yep.
Themes in general. But then I kind of do anywhere from like flexi stuff to like cosplay stuff, like puppets, decor, just kind of
So a little
whatever
bit of
strikes
everything
my
in
fancy.
between.
A little bit of everything. You know, I don't get bored, and you know, things that my members come up with too that strike my fancy. So I go for it and have fun.
There you go. Well, now, real quick then, is with the, of course, modeling and everything. We'll get to your beginning in 3D printing, but did you start modeling and then 3D printing, or vice versa, or kind of at the same time?
A little bit, I guess. Like for me personally, 3D printing started when I started 3D modeling.
Okay.
But my husband has had a 3D printer in our house for the past 10 years. And so, you know, he's 3D printed
He's been doing
things.
it.
He's been doing it for a long time.
So now, with him starting so long ago, were there in the beginning of, you know, if you weren't necessarily into it, was there a lot of eye rolls anytime that you talk about it? I know my wife rolls her eyes at me.
Dude, like, I'm a big nerd, he's a big nerd, and so he's like, I'm gonna make this cool thing, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how that works, but like, he's like, I'll print you a dragon. I'm like, awesome, we love that. He's like, here's some Pokemon. I'm like, great, ideal.
So now, with all the stuff that he was printing and you seeing it, is that kind of what inspired you to start designing, or was that kind of just an offshoot of something else?
I've been a 2D illustrator most of my life. That's kind of my background.
Okay.
And again, in my illustration, I've always focused on like animals, fantasy, nature, organic kind of stuff. And so really he was, you know, like I said, he'd been doing printing for a long time. He actually got to the point where he started designing his own mechanical parts just for problem solving around the house.
Yep.
And then he printed me, I have them sitting over there. It's the Magaibir like Imperial Dragon that a lot of people know. And I was like, it's so gorgeous. And I draw a lot of dragons with my 2D art. And I was looking at different dragons, you know, like the Cinderwing had her stuff out at that point and all that. And I was like, I don't see any dragons that look like my dragons, like with a little bit more of a classical kind of Western, 4 legs, that kind of thing. At that point in time, I was like, I don't see any of that. I was like, so I want to make my own dragon and make him off of the comic characters of a comic I was working off at that point. And so got my husband to help me because, again, he already knew. I tell people I really cheated because he already had all the base knowledge. I did, and he just told me what to do. I didn't have to learn all of the foundation of 3D printing.
We all have to learn from somebody, right?
Exactly. And so he helped me learn, you know, sort out a lot of the mechanics of like, how does a flexi work? Like, how do you print things without needing supports? And so I did a flexi for my first ever model, which was a mistake because it took like 4 months.
Lesson learned.
And drove me crazy, but I learned so much. And then I had it and I was like, this is my child. I made a thing.
Yep.
And you know, it's very, very different going from 2D art that you make and you just like see and it's pretty, and then it's like, this is a thing that moves.
Then you hold it.
And like, I'm holding it. This is so exciting. And I was like, maybe I'll like sell some of these dragons. Because again, at that point, I already had built up an audience for my 2D illustration stuff. And I sold my physical printed dragons for about 2 weeks and immediately remembered that I hate mailing things. And my husband was like, and we've mailed and printed out and sold some of his design stuff in the past too that really popped off. And he was like, remember, we hate mailing things. He was like, what if you just focused on design?
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this idea.
I'm going to create it anyway. And now I don't have to print it, pack it, ship it. Like, yeah, that's the best of all the worlds.
Exactly. So I just ran with that hard and it's been great. So it's worth the help.
Now, of course, yeah, the between 2D to 3D, there's a lot of different skill, you know, in modeling software compared to just illustration. But in design wise, when you're thinking of it in your head and having to draw it out and everything else there, is there a big jump from there? Or is it just now, instead of kind of figuring out the shading, now you're just figuring out there's different angles and shapes? Or is there a whole lot more to it just in the thought process of itself?
I would say, like, if I'm doing a base, like say just like a little figurine that's not moving, the mental process for me is very similar of like, I'm going to pull up reference photos of animals that, like, the animal I'm creating or animals that inspired the dragon or creature I'm making.
Yep.
Kind of look at it from different angles, sculpting in or sketching in the different angles of stuff like that. It's fascinating. I find 3D modeling easier than 2D illustration, because for me, thinking through, like, the mental process of trying to think through and figure out, I'm, shading an animal and I want light to hit it in a 2D piece. And I need to think about where all the shapes and the dynamics and the angles, whereas with the 3D, it's just there.
Yeah.
It's there.
If the shape's there, the light will hit it however it does after I print it.
And so that part was easier in a sense once you kind of get used to it. What was really hard, and what still sometimes I struggle with in my brain, is the mechanical side of, figuring out the flexies and like, okay, I want this movement for this animal, and my background in animal illustration, I know how the anatomy works and it needs to move this way.
Function that same direction. Yeah, the movement and motion of everything. Yep.
And so how do I get this to work and actually be printable and not a pain in the butt to print also?
Because I just trial and error in the beginning, I'm sure.
Exactly. Like I'm working on an armadillo right now, and I got like 10 different little armadillo bodies around here that I have not figured out how to get him working yet. So
3D printed armadillo body. She's not an armadillo serial killer.
It's when you look at a designer's desk and it's just like, at least mine, it's just like half printed animal body parts everywhere.
So now, with the first thing that you designed and actually printed, how long ago was that? Was that years ago, or?
That was a couple years ago. I want to say that was, I think that was like November.
Here, in terms of printer world, was it pre or post bamboo?
It was like right at the start of bamboo.
Okay. I was going to ask, because I was going to transition that as like the multicolor help in designing things, or was that kind of you were designing, printing normal, and then went to multicolor?
It was designing, printing normal, because I mean my husband had a Prusa at that point that he has like fine-tuned to the max, which again I didn't have to do hassle with any of that. I just
you just like print this.
He just told me he just taught me how to send it to the printer, and it looked beautiful because he's been working on that thing for 7 years. So that was great.
Pays off.
Exactly. And so we have a Prusa, and then once I started designing more stuff, we got the bamboos. Like I think the X1C had just recently come out.
Okay.
And so we got one of those. And really, like, I design with the idea that no one's necessarily going to be always printing my stuff in color. The color is an afterthought.
It's
I want mine.
It doesn't have to have it.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It's exciting to be able to have, but I want my models and my creatures and things to read well, even without color.
Yeah, and that makes it more accessible too. So you get a larger. Of course, a lot of people now have bamboos, but still, not everybody has bamboos and multicolor and everything else.
Exactly. And personally, I think it's just such a hassle printing a multicolor. Things are getting better with the more machines that we have coming out. But honestly, since I don't mass produce my prints, I'll do a multicolor print file for all my people. But nowadays, I'm usually hand painting the models that I take for like photos and stuff. Because again, with my background, I'm going to have a much better time painting my model in an hour versus stressing out about whether or not my AMS is going to jam for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. The waste, and then I got to print it again, or I can just print it in a color that I know it's going to finish. And like you said, if you have the skill, that's I've seen some amazing skill in the community of people printing stuff, whether it be painting. Hand painting, airbrushing, and I'm amazed because I don't have the patience or the skill to do so. So I rely on the multicolor, but I also have access to a lot of filament.
Yep, exactly.
So now, with all the designs you had, was there any of them that like was the I don't want to say climax, because you still got plenty of times to design things, but they kind of pop things off. I mean, I know, of course, I think the first time I ever came across your stuff was, of course, the finger dragon. I don't think it's called the finger dragon, but that was a cool take on the dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy was really popular. That came out, he was sometime last year. I think this one of the things that I kind of like, one of my milestones was I actually came out with a dragon planter that like within the first year of my work of doing stuff. And that was kind of the first boost of like getting me past, like pushing me past 100 into like 200 subscribers range. Was when I started introducing more of that decor stuff. And a lot of people hadn't seen that kind of stuff at that point in time, I think. So that was kind of my first, like, oh, when I released this planter, people were like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, it's pretty and it's a dragon still, but everybody loves dragons.
Oh, yeah. They're still hugely popular.
Oh, yeah. And so that was a fun one. And then, like you said, like the finger dragon was kind of one of last year's big ones that got shared around a whole lot, which was super fun.
Now, do you personally ever go to like any of the like, you know, whether it be vendor fair? And I know you kind of got away from selling stuff, but do you ever still attend them or like go to fairs, or have you ever seen one of your creations like in the wild?
At the Renaissance Fair near us last fall was the first time I went and saw it like in the wild, and I was like, that's weird. I don't go that many places. Like, if y'all also don't know, like I'm chronically ill and disabled, and so I'm like to hide in my house, in my hole in my house, unless I have something really worth the energy to go out and do. And so I have a lot of friends who are going out doing things that see my stuff way more often in the wild than I do, and they'll send me a picture from like your face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That is cool. I was yeah, especially just as you know, in the wild to see just I made that. Like I don't have any clue who that person is, but I made it. They either bought it or they printed it, and then now they're playing with it.
And now it's like it's getting places, and it's like in hands of people that I have no clue who they are. They don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
But it's out there. It's crazy.
You walk right past them, and they have no idea that, oh, that's the designer. Like, no, not a clue. Well, now maybe some more people will if they ever happen to run into you. Like, okay, no, now I know I knew Kirsten. I've seen her before.
Easy to spot.
Yeah. So now on the like the finger dragons, have when you see that something gets popular, do you tend to try to make variations of, or what's your typical process of design or design ideas?
Varies a lot. I think my patron members will kind of if they've been around for a while, they'll probably track with me and kind of notice that I go in spurts of things sometimes. Of like the finger dragon puppet came out, and that was popular, but that was also one that I just had a lot of fun with.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, I had a couple of variations of like the finger puppet and doing like different sizes, some that are bigger, some that were smaller. I have like a shoulder puppet guy, like a hand that's just like the mouth. Mm-hmm. And then I had a spurt where, you know, I did a bunch of birds because I figured out how to make birds. And actually now I have completely redone the anatomy that I use on my birds, so I need to redo those birds.
Just add it
but
to
you
the
know,
list,
it's like exactly. And so I have learned over, you know, the years and years of doing creative work in general to give myself grace and allow myself to kind of flow where I want to creatively. And you know, sometimes
you enjoying
it's like
it rather than it being a task.
Exactly. And so, you know, I take a lot of inspiration from just like being on the internet and consuming different media and seeing different stuff, or, you know, walking around and being like, oh, you know, like I need this thing to help me make life better. Or my subscribers being like, what about this animal? Like, what about this animal? And so it's just kind of whatever like catches my attention, being like, oh, like that could be cool. Like I could put this kind of twist on this, or and you know, whatever catches my attention, I kind of roll with it. I do have some polls every month that there are some models that people will vote on. And those are like, okay, these are it helps my decision paralysis because it's kind of like, okay, these are the models that I'm for sure doing, and I have to pick these guys because people are now expecting
Now,
these.
yeah,
And so
I've
I'm
told them, yeah.
people now, they know that we're getting this armadillo. I need to figure out how this armadillo articulates by the end of the month.
Well, that's a good thing though, is because like you said, it locks you in, and that's I'm the same as any type of decision making, whatnot. If I'm given choices, I'm so indecisive. Like force me to do something, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, I have like lists and lists upon like Google, on my Google Docs, on like my desktop, of like different ideas and different animals and things that I'll think of or other people will suggest, and it's just like whenever I lock onto one and I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing today, but okay, now we need to come back and work on this armadillo that I know people want.
Yep.
But if I'm really hating the armadillo at that moment, I will allow myself to go back to this because it's all gonna yeah, come back and work on something that I'm going to be enjoying for a minute, and then I'm going to be able to come back and actually work more efficiently, having done something in between. You know,
Oh, yeah,
kind of figured
absolutely.
out that flow.
So now, what does your current backlog look like? Is it a huge long list of everything, or do you keep it kind of trimmed down just so you don't look at a huge list? Depends on the day.
Like, as in like just ideas,
Mm-hmm.
or like the models that I have done.
Ideas, like what you want to get done, or things you may or may not do, or.
Yeah, honestly, ideas that are somewhere out in the universe on my list of things is probably in the hundreds. Ideas that I have like actively in my head being like, okay, like this is somewhere next on my list, is closer to probably like a dozen different things that kind of rotate around in the head. And sometimes I sidetrack completely from any of those if I just get really inspired by one particular thing, and I'm like, I'm making this thing today and it's coming out next week. Get the hyper
focus down and like, okay, this is. So now when you're doing the designing, is especially from having a 2D background, do you like sketch out the ideas first just to get an idea, or do you just roll with right into sculpting and modeling?
Usually I roll right into sculpting and modeling. There's been a couple of times where if it's something a little more abstract or a little bit I'm having struggles with like particular posing and anatomy and things, positioning of things I want, I'll do a real quick just like rough outline sketch of just kind of how different things are posing and stuff.
Okay.
To help solidify it in my mind. Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how things need to move here, and then I'll go. But for the most part, I'll just kind of jump in there. Sometimes, if I can grab from my previous sculpts also, that's going to be helpful and make things a little bit faster. I have a fox and a wolf flexi. Their anatomy is going to be very similar, so they can work off of each other, So.
So now, is there out of all the designs you've done, like what has been the largest design size wise?
I have, let me think. I have a modular dragon that is printed in separate pieces, and so you can basically scale it however big you want. So hold on, let me grab him. He has his own spot.
Oh yeah, he's a chunky boy.
Yes, this is my child.
So like basically each link.
Yeah, each piece is prints and assembles separately with those ball joints, and then the legs and wings also snap on. So it's just, you can have fun and just kind of make it whatever size you want. I also have this guy. Oh my gosh, he's attacking my hair. Printed, it's just like a regular little size flexi too. Yep. So this is technically 330% of what the original scale is. I have some friends who have done up to like 400%, and it's like 6 feet long. And I'm like, that is so much.
That is a lot.
So this took like I want to say 2 days on 2 different printers.
Oh, that's not bad for the size and everything. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's only 2 walls and like 3% infill. So
Well, yeah, or
it
else it's gonna be
is
super heavy.
exactly. And so, you know, it is not the most hefty, but it lays in its spot
Yeah.
in my office. It does not get
Not
thrown
like you're
around.
throwing them around anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, of course, I see back by the dragon. It looks like a cello. Have you ever thought about designing a 3D printed instrument?
You know, I haven't. It's one of those things I hand painted that in like college. That was one of my phases of life that I painted instruments.
Not a phase, Mom.
And so 3D print designing an instrument would be fascinating, but I also anything that I design, I want it to function properly. And I don't know if I don't think I have enough knowledge
Of how
on like
yeah,
how
the sound and
instrument
acoustics
needs
and
to work
yeah.
properly, you know?
I would
feel
print a
I don't
box
have
and
that
hope that
enough.
it just echoes or something, but
No, I'm like, I want it to look pretty, and I also want it to do the thing that it's supposed to do.
that's especially yeah, you're gonna put that time into it. Yeah, you want it to be like you don't want to be like, okay, well it's just junk. I can print it, but it does really nothing. So I understand that.
And
Yeah.
I also have anxiety. I don't want people to like print it and then they're coming mad at me like,
Yeah.
why doesn't this work the way it's supposed to work? I'm like, I don't know. It just makes things look
You
pretty.
made me waste 2 spools of filament on that. You owe me. So now you're
like, I don't have that.
with your typical designs, and I know, of course, it depends on if it's articulating things like that. But on average, about how much time do you spend from start to finish on creating a design?
Usually it varies so much. It could take anywhere from like an hour or two
Okay.
to like several days. You know, and a lot of that depends on the longer ones are usually those articulating things where I'm working on new types of articulation where I have to do a lot of testing and iteration to feel and see how it moves. But whereas if I'm doing something, you know, stationary that's just like decor or functional and it doesn't have to have different moving parts, as long as I kind of have my concept and I know what I'm doing, you know, I could sculpt that out in an hour, test print it, make sure things fit, and then finish it out in another 30 minutes to an hour.
And
so
what's your go-to
varies.
software?
I use Nomad Sculpt for all my
okay.
sculpting.
So then do you do mostly on like an iPad or iPad and PC, or is Nomad on PC? I don't even know.
It is currently in beta on PC, but they only have literally 2 tools that you can use in it.
So very limited.
So I am waiting for it to be on PC because everybody keeps asking me about it. But so far it's on iPad. It can also be on like Android tablets and stuff like that too, but not. They're working on PC versions, but it seems like it's going a little slowly. But one day.
And then I'm sure. Do you use the well, it's not an S Pen. It's S Pen for Android stuff, but the Apple Pen. I imagine you use that more than you use your fingers and try to finger paint the models.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now then, do you have the whole setup? As I've seen the little wrist thing, so that way your palm doesn't touch and all that. Do you have a whole kit and caboodle of development system?
Pretty much, yeah. I got I got the iPad, I got the stand. I actually I have wrist issues, like joint issues, so I actually wear compression usually, which helps my hand and then also doesn't affect my screen. And basically I have my desktop monitors here, my iPad is here. So, I'll have like my reference images up on my desktop and my print slicer and kind of work over here, kind of look over here.
Yeah, and I guess that beats having to swipe, the on the iPad of like, okay, here's the reference picture, look at it, go back, make some changes.
Exactly.
So
I'm like, I can't remember what things look like that long ago.
Especially as you're getting down to the detail of modeling. I've messed with stuff, but I am by far no modeler. I can do boxes and geometric shapes.
That's all you need.
There you go. Yeah, just put enough shapes together and you get something. That's what a lot of people have done with Tinkercad.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, you can do so much with Tinkercad and just the shapes and things that they provide you with.
So now when you did start 3D designing or modeling, did you use a different software? Or did you just start with Nomad and run with it?
I started with Nomad. My husband, with a lot of the stuff that he does, he actually prefers Fusion 360
Okay.
because he's a engineer, mechanical
More
brain.
technical guy.
Everything makes sense in his brain. And I'm like, Fusion 3D makes my brain hurt so much, but he did try to teach me a little bit of it when I was starting out to work on some of those articulating parts and stuff.
Yeah.
But the more I got into Nomad, I was like, I'm just gonna figure out how to do all the articulation in here because it makes so much more sense.
Yeah, rather than bouncing back and forth, merging projects,
Exactly.
let's just create it one spot, dump it, and we're calling it a day.
Exactly. So like if I need something like super weird, precise, mechanical that needs to be like exact dimensions that's gonna be utilized from like made from Fusion 360 or whatever, I'll just ask my husband. I'm like, can you make this thing that does this? Because I could sit here and wrestle with Fusion for like an hour and make it happen, but you
And
could
you'll do it
literally
in
make this in
minutes.
5.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, whatever.
That's I've seen some people go through those programs between Nomad or even Fusion, and the way they can click through things and move things around. Oh yeah, then you just change this, then you Control Alt F150. Like how do you remember all these shortcuts and Windows keys and all this stuff? Like props to you guys, because I can't do it. I can't even have the patience to try to sculpt on the Nomad. I've tried it and it's not my thing.
It takes a lot of time and practice.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for me to just go to one of the websites and download somebody else's model.
Absolutely. We need each other. That's okay.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. It's a good mutual relationship. So it works well for everybody. And now with all the designs that you've done, of course, like you said, you've got a backlog, you've got tons of ideas, you got things in the works. Is there any like special project that you're working on that's like really excited about that you can either tease or mention, or is it kind of they're all your fun projects as they happen? I have to look around to see what test prints are sitting around.
I feel like it's interesting. This past like month, I've kind of been chugging along at different projects. There hasn't been one particular thing that I've been like, oh, like
This is it.
this is the really cool one. Usually every couple months I'll get one of the I'm like, oh, I need to release this immediately just because I love it, and I don't care if anybody else does. But yeah, a lot of the stuff the past couple months, I've just kind of been like chugging along and having a good time, and I was like, oh yeah, like I like this. Like I had redid my hummingbird recently, came out with him again because my old hummingbird, the mechanics I tried to get too fancy with the mechanics, and people were having struggles with it, and I was like, no, we're going back to making things simple. So I re-released a hummingbird that I like him. I got like, again, the finger puppet things. I got like little teeny mini finger puppets now. I'm working on the crown cosplay stuff. But like again, I'm not sure how it's going yet, but
it's coming along.
It's doing something.
There you go. Now is this for cosplay for yourself, or is it just kind of one just designed for people to use?
It's designed for people to use. A lot of people request cosplay stuff.
Okay.
And I love cosplay. I just don't have energy and time to do it. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm all for helping create
I'll make the pieces and parts and accessories and whatever you need in the props. And
it's a great time.
The amount of time that people spend in that between, I guess it's a little bit, we'll say, easier now 3D printing, but back in the day when it was foam cutting, gluing, shaving, and you're basically a sculptor. Like no, I can't do that. Yeah. Like I said, give me a printer that I can just print the parts out, and I can print an Iron Man suit. Great, I'll do that rather than having to figure all the stuff out myself. Have you ever done cosplay at all? And I said you like it, but
so I have embraced my nerdy era so late in life. It's like I feel like I should have been into cosplay so much sooner in life, but it never happened. And so I've just been like admired from afar. a lot of people also assume because I make a lot of dice towers and stuff, they're like, obviously you're into D&D. And like, actually I've never played D&D. I'm just like
Yeah.
I am D&D adjacent, and I'm also cosplay adjacent.
See, so I'm the same way. It's like I've always been a nerd, and people just assume, oh, you're a nerd. Yeah, you play D&D. Like, I've never played D&D. Like, I have nothing against it. I've just never been in this position to play or have people around me that play.
Exactly. I'm like, I love and I admire, but like, not here. One of my cousins actually does a ton of cosplay stuff, though, and I'm trying to get him to get a 3D printer, and I'm like, I can make your life so much easier. Just
Yes.
get a 3D printer, because he's like foam sculpting and cutting,
Doing all the
and he's an
hands-on
artist
stuff.
too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I can make your life so much easier. Get a 3D printer. So maybe one day I'll convince him.
It's usually, as we've all seen, is it takes that first one, and once you start printing a couple things yourself, like, wait, I printed this, I can print other things, like, and then the world is open, and then now your pocketbook opens up, and then all your money disappears somewhere. And
Exactly.
so now, how many at home? Of course, you print your own designs, testing them, and everything else. How many printers do you currently run?
Actually, that's the fifth one that, if I needed to utilize it, I could, but it's in his office for whatever his projects he has at the moment. But I have 4, the 2 P1Ss, three P1Ss. He took the X1C because he does more complex materials.
Okay.
And I have an A1, and our Prusa has retired since then. And it is pretty rare that I have all 4 of my printers running. Usually, since I'm only testing, I'm not printing to sell. I'm printing as I test and prototype, and so that kind of comes and goes of times where none of them are running right now, and then I'll have like a week where they're all running nonstop, and then it's
the roller coaster. I think that's all of us. There's either something cool you see, and then that gets them running again, or we call it printer block. You have no idea. You got all the printers, all the filament that you need. And it's like, I don't know what to print. Like there's too much to print. That kind of goes back to what we were talking earlier, is when you have a list of 100 things you can print, I have a problem just going with one of them. Like, you have printers, print 2 of them at once. Like you can do it, but it's just like, well, which one? Well, no, maybe this one or this one. It's just the indecisiveness keeps me from doing a lot of things that I should just push forward. Just do it. Just get it done.
Sit down and do stuff. Like, I can't decide if I want to make these 5 different animals or this one. No, I should just pick one and just go, and then we'll just get the rest of going as it needs.
There you go. Now, with you designing, of course, being in design for a little while and seeing everybody else doing their own designs, whether it's something dragon related or not dragon related, do you have anybody that like you're a fan of like in 3D design, or that you took inspiration from?
I love Matt Meyer Makes. He is one of the designers that before I started, I was like, oh, like, he's doing, like, he understands animal anatomy.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, having spent over a decade learning, like, animal anatomy and stuff for all my 2D illustration, looking at some models that I'm like, they're so cute, but why are they moving like that? Because that's not how the arm goes.
Like,
that's just me being anal about
twisted.
it. But with that, I'm like, oh, his articulations and everything are beautiful, and his style is so cool. I believe he used to be like an animator with Disney or one of those companies.
That makes sense, yeah, because it's like all his animals always are happy. They're just always,
yeah, you can tell in his style. It's beautiful. I also love a smaller designer that I actually love. She started, I think, around a little bit before I did, is Mystic Sage. But she is kind of, like I said, she's a smaller designer, but she does kind of similar fantasy, semi-realism kind of stuff, akin to me a little bit, with different styles, and I think her stuff is always so pretty.
And there's so many out there. Now it's just growing and growing.
I know. And there's more all the time. Like, this is awesome. Go do your thing.
Yeah.
Like,
so now when you do release yours, I know I mentioned earlier you have a Patreon. Obviously, people get stuff there. Do you do any type of like delayed release, or when you create a design, it's available? Is it Patreon and then eventually goes to Cults 3D, or how does your workflow?
basically it kind of floundered around for a little bit until I kind of nailed it in. Now, basically, Patreon, Tribes, and Things, which are the 3 subscription platforms, they'll all get things first.
Okay.
And then usually 2 months after the subscription places get it, then it will go public on Colts 3D.
Okay.
Or public for Things, My Mini Factory. Basically, the way like my subscription tiers work is the members get the current month and then the month before that.
Okay. Yep.
And so then basically the idea is those, while those are out for subscribers, they're the only ones getting those months. And then once the next month rolls over and this month is gone from, you know, being included in the
Behind.
subscription, then they're going to be public so that, you know, people who join, if they miss that month, they can still go get that month. So that way people aren't like missing out and being like, where
I'll never be able to get that again.
Yeah, where did this fall into the abyss? Like,
Yeah, it's locked in. You should have joined 3 years ago, and you know, when nobody knew who I was, and you'll know. And that's one of my best bottles. So no, but now on top of that, do you do like commission work where people come to you, or is it just kind of more feel what you want to do and create?
it's mostly just doing what myself and my community like. I did commission work for 15 years doing 2D illustration.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm so happy not doing commission work again.
That way, yeah, because then you gotta have your own just creativeness into it. You don't have to try to take your creativeness and then mold it around somebody else's idea.
And I'm like, honestly, it is, you know, my subscribers and that community are always my first priority with my work. And, you know, gearing towards what they want, making sure I'm putting out enough for what they are expecting, things like that.
Yep, makes sense.
And that, honestly, what the subscribers give to me in return in value is much more valuable to me than what I could probably charge to make it feel like it's worth my time to do a lot of commission pieces, if that makes sense.
Yep, no, it makes
Is
sense.
that-
Sure.
Yeah. And so, you know, and I'm very much, you know, been an artist in the industry for a long time. Don't sell your work, and especially commercial rights to your work for perpetuity for cheap. And not a lot of people want to pay what I think some artists
Charge.
would want for that. I'm like, it's going to be so much easier for all of you if you want to pay for my work, subscribe, and we can
This is what
do
you
that
get,
commercialize
yeah.
it. And it's going to be so much simpler, and you can always suggest things to me, and if I happen to like it, then I'll do it.
There
You know,
go.
if I don't like your idea, I probably at this point in time, I'll tell people, I'm like, you know, if
It's not quite,
you have a
what I'm
commission
interested in.
idea, and like if I just happen to really love your idea, then I might roll with it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I might take on your commission, or I might even, you know, if you don't mind me making it and releasing it to everybody else, you know, it can just be one in my routine that you inspire me and stuff like that. But if it's something that, you know, I've done a lot of book illustration and stuff like that, that I just working in styles and things that are not my own, that are not intuitive to me, and I just hated. And I was like, I'm not going to take on and like promise other people projects that I know I'm going to hate.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if you're doing well enough now where it's, you know, like you said, you get to enjoy what you do. Like, I love creating this stuff. Yeah, there's no reason to backtrack back into like, I guess I'll do this just for the heck of it. Like that, no, we'll stay the fun stuff. And it's, you know, making headway. So yeah, you're I'm sure continuing to grow. I see well, you tagged in many different Instagram posts and X posts and everything else. So no, it's nice to see it. Like I said, especially from probably last year of first seeing the finger dragon. Like, that is awesome. Like, I need that. And I've got kids, so of course I've printed all the dragons. I think every single dragon that exists on the internet, there's probably one somewhere sitting in this house, or they've given it away to a friend, one or the other. but no, they're always, it's fun. And I'm always surprised too, just how big dragons still are. And I think it's not even just the fact of the subject itself of dragons. I think it's the fidgety, the articulation, it's fun to hold.
Oh
Yeah,
absolutely.
but yeah, we'll run real quick over to the community. So anybody that's got questions for Kirsten here, let us know in chat and we'll ask away. And TechTuber says, I love the fact that you pull your subscribers. Yeah, you could support the people that support you.
Subscribers giving ideas.
Yeah.
Right? So helpful.
Let's see.
Actually, I think I saw my husband in chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here.
Hello, Mr. Kirsten.
His username is Kyrbess if you see him in there. Kyyrbes. Hey, there he is. But yeah, that's husband. You can thank him for all the things.
Thank you for letting me steal your wife on a Thursday night unannounced. So
he's DMing for D&D in an hour anyway.
Oh, there you go. Yep. So have you still not played D&D, or has your husband hasn't pulled you into it? So no, I'm the nerd of the house. My wife has nothing. She's not the nerd, dork, whatnot. So yeah, again, it's going to be one of those things. Is I'd have to fall into it somewhere.
Yes. Strong independent woman.
Let's see. Little John Original said or asked, "How did you learn Nomad? Did you use YouTube videos or just or something else?"
A little bit of YouTube for like things that I couldn't figure out, and a lot of just like getting in the program and just like playing and smushing things around and figuring out how things work. That's kind of how I take to any new drawing, art, design program, as I kind of get in there and feel things out. And then once I figure out, okay, how do I do this? Then I'll go look for that specific question on YouTube or something like that, you know.
Little tips and tricks as needed.
Exactly.
Let's see here. David had asked, have you tried 3D printing your backdrop yet? Can we do that as... Oh, okay. That's probably a question for me. You can't see it because there's a black green screen. They're a door. I do a Tuesday stream. People saw my door that's unpainted. They had a fit over it, and now there's 800 ideas of what we're going to print. We'll talk about that next Tuesday. Bexy Beans, no question. Just wanted to say that you're amazing for designing all the mobility aid accessories and making them look so cool.
Yeah, I appreciate them. I'm glad y'all like them.
Let's see here. Little John, there's that one. Pezzo says, I may have printed a whole murder of crows. They're coming with me to 3D Printopia. If you want some, you just need to say hello.
I'll be at 3D Printopia.
Oh, are you going to be there? Awesome. Well, I'll be there too. I'll be able to meet in person. Let's see here. CGS Creations, favorite and yet most challenging animal that you have designed to date.
Let me think. Favorite and most challenging. The peacock that I did like 1 or 2 months ago. He turned out gorgeous. But that was one I had to enlist my husband for help because I was like, the tail feathers need to be able to splay out.
Oh, okay. Like kind of fan, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, I can't figure out how to get it to work. And so my husband came up with this fabulous mechanic.
And how long did it take him? Like 5-10 minutes?
It took him like 2 days after I'd been wrestling with it for like a week and a half. And I was like, can you help me? And he was like, yeah.
I got this, honey. Don't worry. Let's see here. Let's see. Peck and Paul had asked, do you use Apple Pen on iPad or a stylus like the Adonit Jot Pro?
I use just a good old Apple, I think it's the Apple II generation pencil. You know, I stick with what the name brand says to get, and I'm just like, we're not going to play around with it.
If it works, it works.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, fix it.
Sharon P, not a question, says, I love your dice towers. I just printed the gargoyle and I will take pictures later. Let's see here. I'll have to look you up beginning of next year. So we do Adepticon. We went, I went there earlier this year, and it's a big tabletop gaming convention, like the world's largest. And I was searching for dice towers at last minute. So I'll have to hit you up for some dice towers to display on the booth when we go this year. Well, next year. I think it's in March. Make sure you didn't lose. TechJeeper asks, if you're going to 3D Printopia, do you have your maker chips yet?
No, I was literally just talking to some of the girls, 3D printing girls last night about that. And they're like, oh yeah, we gotta do the maker chip and the maker coins and all this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot.
Well, you know what? Your
So I
printers aren't
do-
currently running, so that gives you something to run. You know, K2 has got his maker chip set up on Maker World. You can check out, and I mean, you have a vibrant logo, so it probably wouldn't be too hard to do.
I plan on doing something. I just have not figured out.
Pezla's knows a guy. Might be K2, but they can definitely help you make some. I mean, you still got time to print, and you've got good printers with the AMS. So yeah, just get it down to 4 colors, so you don't have to worry about it. You just, mass produce.
Flip them out, yeah.
Okay, but that looks like that's all the community questions. I like to end it off with a few just fun rapid fire questions. First 2 are always the same. The first one being, and I always preface it too, is the answer does not have to be Polymaker, but what is your favorite color or surface effect filament? Like your go-to filament?
Honestly, I have been, as far as like pretty filaments, because I print a lot of just like, with test printing stuff, just a lot of
Whatever's
plain old
in there.
white,
Yeah.
whatever they have, Pretty filaments, I have been really into zero filament lately.
Their diamond series.
But all of them. I just recently, I was like, maybe I should actually buy pretty filament and see how it goes. And so like this one, like this is like the matte.
Like a rainbow or a tricolor, or is that a tricolor?
Like this
Yeah.
tricolor matte. It's just really pretty. I'm really into any of the tricolor type of filaments.
Yeah, that's I don't even remember what the I don't know what brand it is, but yeah, it's a tricolor, a pastel, or no, a matte tricolor. And yeah, it turns out cool. It looks like a hologram. But let's see. Second question I always ask is, what is the one print or model in your case that you're most proud of?
I do like my big modular dragon. Another one that I actually was one of my very first models that I still love is I have a dragon bookend set.
Okay.
Which I don't actually have in my room right now because I sold it to a friend years ago. But it's one that a lot of people, it's still some of their favorites, and I look back at it and I'm like, it still holds up. Like I'm still really proud of that piece.
No, that's good. Yeah, especially kind of sentimental value. A cool piece, I'm sure, nonetheless, but the sentimental value adds a lot to it. And then last question of all the well, of course you're not in D&D, so we won't get any type of lore, but if you were to pick a type of dragon, a fire dragon, ice dragon, earth dragon, whatever, or even create your own, what would be your go-to dragon as a pet?
Pet.
A not mean one, I'm sure. But
I'm a big fan of the like dragons as like companions, familiars versus like strictly pet kind of ordeal.
Okay.
I really like the Dragon Prince. I don't know if you watched that show recently.
I have not.
It's by the same creators that made Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it has dragons in it and stuff. Okay. I think that would be fun, or classic old, not old, I guess, but like the Aragon series where it's more dragon riders and they're connected and stuff like that.
There you go.
That would be fun.
I think that's would be my go-to. Just one I could connect with, and then just hop on, take it to Walmart, pick up some groceries. Yeah. And nobody's gonna mess with you at Walmart when you can hop in on a dragon.
Oh no, absolutely.
Okay, but other than that, real quick, I want to give you the stage to just let people know where can they find you. Where can they follow, buy your models, etc. The stage is yours to push any socials, sites, websites, etc.
Cool. So I am KE Creations. If you search KE Creations, creations with a K, basically anywhere on the internet you'll find me. My primary platforms are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Occasionally I pop onto like Threads, Twitter, and Blue Sky. I'm also on Patreon, Fangs, and Tribes for subscriptions, where you can get all the models 2 months early ahead of time and with commercial licensing for them. And if you just want like little one-offs, personal use models, all of those guys, after the subscribers get them, they go up on Colts 3D, My Mini Factory, and Fangs again. All those places I'm going to be KE Creations. And yeah, I think that's it. I think y'all have my link tree somewhere.
Yep, right here. You look at me pointing at nothing, but there is something there.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that has all of my links to everywhere where y'all can find me. Oh, I'm also on YouTube and Twitch and like I said,
all over the place. So yeah, so if you go to the link tree, you can follow her on every single one of those, because you never know what's going to come next, and she makes awesome models. So there's, we can all assume that there's going to be even more awesome models in the future. So give her a follow. But thank you very much for coming on the show. It was nice getting to know you, and it'll be even cooler to meet you in person here in like 2 weeks. The countdown has started. Thank you again, and and you have yourself a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too.
See ya. And there you guys have it. Thank you for your patience, and to Kirsten and to you guys for having to get this thing started late. And now I have a backup way when Streamlabs isn't working for ClabCam. Cool. Learned something new, and she was very patient through the process. But again, obviously you guys just learned about her, that she's just an awesome person, a great designer, really cool stuff. If you haven't checked out her stuff, go give her a follow. You've seen the link tree that was on there. I think Pezliz, there you go. Yeah, Pezliz already linked it in chat there. Go check her out. Like I said, a lot of fun stuff. And I know there's a lot of articulating dragons. I promise you hers is a whole different take. The finger dragon's fun. And if you have kids or have nieces, nephews, whatever, I promise you they will love it. Because it's one thing to hold and have an articulated dragon. It's another one to kind of control it. So very, very awesome. So cool person. I look forward to meeting her and her husband at 3D Printopia very soon. But before that happens, let's talk about some projects that we're working on. As you type in "I am awesome" in chat to win a chance to win a spool of filament. You'd think this was my first show. This was episode 80, by the way. 80 different guests, 80 weeks consecutive, 80. Man, what are we gonna do at 100? I mean, do we celebrate at 100, or do we celebrate at like 2 years, which would obviously be 104? I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But it's got to be something special. We got to make it big. I've got to maybe risk a little bit of getting in trouble of what we do, and what you can win, what's going to happen with it, etc. Bexy, it's hilarious because I've had that idea for the longest time. It just has to be like a scripted thing that I go back and forth with. But I have had that idea. We'll see. But anyway, real quick, while you guys are typing in "I am awesome" for a chance to win some filament, make sure to follow all our other projects, starting with Polymaker Figurines, who just printed the last one of Generation 2 of the Pokemon. And what's next? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. There's got to be something, right? I mean, Polymaker Figurines has done such an amazing job, hosted or led by Onslaught Dimensions. There's got to be something else. So I would go follow them. I would highly recommend following if you're not already. If you're not a Pokemon fan, that's fine. You don't know what's next. It's not, Polymaker Pokemon. It's Polymaker Figurines. And for those that haven't watched it, he does a video. As soon as that video comes out, the model that he showcases there is available for download for free, whether in solid color, multicolor, however you want to do it. So give them a follow over on the, there we go. Okay, yeah, you already did there. Cool. Next up, we have Polymaker Education. That's ! PME. And that is our good friend Britt that hosts that. and she does the same format. As a video comes out, the model that she's showing off becomes available for you to download for educational use. I say educational use, but then I also follow it up with really any use you want. You can download it, you can print it, you can set it on a shelf to make it look good. You can pretend to eat the food items, don't actually eat them, they're not edible. You can drive a car. That's one of, I think, one of the most popular ones. So there's a lot of fun stuff, like I said, whether it be for educational or just fun prints. And that is over on Polymaker Education. We also have Polymaker Labs. That's led by Sean, our one and only. He missed his feedback hour due to tummy problems, but he'll be back next week. But that doesn't stop the Polymaker scientist Sean from giving tips, tricks, and troubleshooting on Polymaker Labs on TikTok and on YouTube. But I don't know, it's not official. It's somebody else is doing it up there. But the TikTok is ours, Polymaker Labs. Go give him a follow, give him some support, some words of encouragement. And then you want to type in exclamation point IPC. That's going to be one show. That's In Printing Color, sponsored by Polymaker, hosted by Pezliz over at twitch.tv/Pezliz, where she talks about colors, use of colors, new product, everything coming out, which, as you've seen, more and more coming. She's going to be having the gradient silks on the way. I think she already has them on the way, but she'll have them soon to show off and just show different ways that you can print them, good use cases, talk about how the transition cycles work and everything of that nature. It's all on the website with the information. I won't go into detail. I'll let you follow her to figure that stuff out. But we also have Pezliz Presents, that's sponsored by Polymaker, and that is on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, again on twitch.tv/Pezliz, where she will interview designers, talk about different designers we're working with, and just their overall designs, and kind of introduce you to a whole new world of designs and models. Kekreations could be on that list. So you never know. Tune into all those. We're going to give away some filament. And if I find my mouse, and apologize, I redid my desk, so you probably see me looking up. I don't have my camera on the tripod, etc. I was not up until 5 this morning trying to get my computer all revamped and new stands. But anyway, I digress. Let's do a giveaway. Who wants to win some stuff? I am awesome. Get it in there. Get it up in there. Put that in chat. I am awesome. I'm only going to give you a little bit longer because I'm hungry. And for those that are anywhere near my area in Ohio, there's Kewpie upstairs. And Kewpie, it's fine dining. It is it is our own little slice of heaven. It is what Wendy's would have been back in the 1950s. Actually, really good burgers, chili, etc. And I'm looking forward to eating and congratulating Grayson. Congrats also to Grayson in chat. I don't know what the final score was. This team won. They're undefeated soccer. I know I scored at least one goal before the show started. I think they were like 6-0. Great job, guys. Great job, New Knoxville. And Kewpie is delicious. Just don't look up don't search Kewpie restaurant, because you're gonna be creeped out because they have a naked baby as a mascot. It's weird. I don't know. I think it's called a Kewpie doll. I've seen it on mayonnaise things in Japan. So whatever. Anyway, enough sidetrack. Let's do some drawings. We're gonna go ahead and draw in 3, 2, 1, and draw. Hang tight, because we're gonna do another one. I missed the stream on Tuesday due to Nora having a soccer game. So we'll give away some more filament. And while we're waiting on that, let's go there, up there. So congratulations, Critter 42, as you just seen there. Builder's Mark, thank you very much. Expedition Point contact joel.finn@polymaker.com, or if you're part of our Discord, and you should be, not a requirement, but it's easier because you can just directly message me. I'm Polymaker Joel on the Discord, and we're going to do another drawing here in just a second as I click this, click all over the place. Who's going to win? Are we going to get one Twitch and then one YouTube winner? So get in I am awesome. Go ahead and put those in there if you guys are wanting a chance to win. And we will see. You know what? Here, let's this is what Twitch, I think. /raid. Okay, we are going to do a drawing momentarily. Wait, no. Oh, I did it wrong. Come on. I'm new here. Leave me alone. See if that works. There we go. It is now set up for a raid, and we're going to do another drawing. So hang tight. After this, we are going to raid out to Silverback Creations. He is painting some stuff, or he was painting. Now he's not. I don't know what he's doing, but go give him a follow. Good guy in the community, just a solid individual, great personality, and he paints stuff. Actually, I shared one of his prints on today's show. Congratulations, Imports 0987. You won yourself a spool of filament. Reach out to me via email or on Discord. I'll get you your filament. And people, we will be back next week. I'll be here on Tuesday. Greg will have his stream on Monday. Tiffany will have her stream on Wednesday. Sean will be back for live feedback hour with Sean on Thursday. I'll be here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard on Thursday with Meet the Polymaker with another guest. So thank you all for your support thus far. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep the energy going. Go show your love over to Silverback. Tell him Joel said, what's up, bro? See you guys later and have a nice night.